Hello guys, welcome back to part 4 of setting up your Windows for coding and website development. Now, in this tutorial session, we are going to have a look at some tools and software for coding. The first tool that we are going to have a look at is the terminal. Now, if you don't know what a terminal is, I recommend you to go to the part 3 of setting up your Windows for coding and website development. I'll leave the link below in the description. Now, this terminal that we are going to be using in our coding projects and also our website development is the Cmder. The Cmder is a console emulator which is an advanced version of the command prompt. Now, without wasting much time, let's go straight to my desktop so I walk you through how to use the Cmder and also how it is an advanced extension of the command prompt of Windows. Now I'm going to walk you through the commander or the Cmder and also compare it to the Windows command prompt and know why we are using the commander instead of the command prompt. So let me briefly open the commander or the Cmder. So now this is the Cmder. Now let me also open the command prompt. So now we have both the command prompt and the Cmder launched. Now let's do some comparisons and know why we are using the commander instead of the command prompt. Now in the command prompt you can do things like this. You can list files and folders in a particular directory using the dir. Now you can do the same thing in also the Cmder. Now this means that the Cmder supports both the Windows command prompt commands and also the Unix command. Now this is an example of a Unix command. Now another way of listing files and folders in a particular directory is using the ls command. Now this is known as the Unix command. Don't worry about the Unix operating system. We are going to talk about that in subsequent videos. Now when I press enter, you see it summarizes everything for me and gives me this cool look of listed files in the commander or in the commander directory. So we are in the commander folder now. Any command we instruct our computer to operate on will be operated in the commander folder. Okay, now let's try and do this ls thing in the command prompt. Now when you do ls in the command prompt terminal, now if you don't know what a terminal is, I recommend you to go to part 3 of setting up your PC for coding and website development. Don't worry, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Okay, now when you do ls in a command prompt and press enter, it gives you an error. It says ls is not recognized. Now this doesn't mean you can't use ls in the command prompt. Before you do that, you'd have to set up the command prompt to recognize the Unix command, but we don't want to do that. We want to use the commander because it automatically accepts the Unix command. Okay, so now one thing you can also do is if you want to change or navigate between folders, for that you can do that both in the command prompt and also the Cmder. So in the command prompt, let's try and change directories. Now if you want to change a directory, you do cd space and then you bring 2 dots. We want to move to the parent directory. The 2 dots means the parent directory. So this is the users directory, and the users directory is the parent of this cerebral directory. So the cerebral directory is a subdirectory in the users directory. Hope you got that. Okay, now so when I press enter, I'm just trying to say change directory to the parent directory. So enter, and then you see it go back to the users directory, which is a parent of the cerebral. Now the good news is that you can do the same thing in the commander. As I said, the commander supports both the command prompt commands and also the Unix command. So you can do cd space dot dot change directory to the parent, and then it moves from the commander to its parent directory, which is the program files. Now another thing you can do is you can check the location of the directory you are working in. So I want to know the location of this directory. So in the Cmder I can do pwd, which is pwd, which is print working directory. So it's going to print the location of this directory, which is the program file. So when I press enter, you see it gives me the location of this program files directory. It says it is in the C drive. You understand? So it's the C drive. Now I can do another thing using the command prompt instructions in the Cmder. So using the command prompt, you can do cd, which is current directory, which is the same as the pwd. The difference is that the pwd is a Unix command. So you can do cd and press enter. You see it gives you the same location as the pwd. Okay, so now if I try this Unix command, which is the pwd, which is print work directory, in the command prompt, is going to give me an error. So let's try. So when I type pwd, you see it says pwd is not recognized as an internal or external command. So you see now the command prompt has less accessibility than the Cmder. That's why we are using the Cmder instead of the command prompt. So basically, we are going to be working a lot with the Cmder, not the command prompt. So let me just close the command prompt. Now, before I close the command prompt, let's do another thing. Let's try to clear our screen. Now, if I want to clear my screen in Cmder, I can do both the cls, which is a command for the Windows command prompt. When I press enter, it clears the screen. So let's try again. I list and then let me clear. So if I want to clear, I can do cls as I said. Let's list again. Now I can choose to use another command, which is the Unix command. I can type the full form of clear and then press enter, and then it clears my screen for me. Now let's try that in the Windows command prompt. If I type clear, it's going to give me an error saying clear is not recognized as part of the command prompt command. So before you do that, you would have to set up the command prompt and all that to recognize clear as its internal or external command. We are not going to do that in this video. Now, unless you do cls. So it tells you that the command prompt is limited in some ways. So in order to avoid that, we are going to be using the Cmder. So let me just close my command prompt. So now we are going to create a folder using the Cmder as we did in part 3 of setting up your PC. So let's try and create a folder. So in order to create a folder, let me go back to my root directory, which is the C drive. So cd dot dot. So I'm moving to the parent. Now you should know by now, you should know that this is the parent of the program file. So if I should change directory and bring two dots in front of it and I press enter, it's going to move to the C drive. Okay, so now let's list. So ls, it gives me listed files and folders in the C drive. Now I want to create the folder on my desktop, so I have to locate the desktop directory, which is in the users directory on my PC. So before I move to this desktop, I have to locate my account, the account that has this desktop listed in. So I've listed the files and folders in the C drive. So I'm looking for the users folder. So now you can see I have the users folder here. Now let's change directory to the users folder. So you do change directory and then you type users. You must give respect to the spellings. So you press enter and then it changes from the C drive and moves to the users folder. Now let's list the files and folders in the users folder. So you do ls and then you see it gives you the list of files and folders in the users folder. Now let me locate my account. Now this is my account, Cerebro. So now I'm going to change directory to that folder. So cd and then you type the name, so Cerebro, and then enter. Now you see it changes to the Cerebro folder. Now let's list again to see if we can find the desktop in there. So ls, and now you can see we have the desktop here. Okay, so now we have the desktop. So we change directory to the desktop. So cd and then desktop, sorry, desktop, and then you press enter. Now you see we have changed directory to the desktop. Now we are in our desktop. Now let's try and create our folder. So now let's clear our screen. So clear, enter. Now you see it clears our screen. So let's create our folder and name it Codetopia. We are creating a new folder. Now if you remember, I said if you want to create a folder, you have to use the make directory command. So you do make directory and then you type the name of your folder, so Codetopia, and then press enter. Now you see we have our folder in here. Okay, so now let's try and rename our folder. So rename ren. We are going to use the Windows command prompt commands. I'm just trying to tell you that the commander supports both the Windows command prompt command and also the Unix command. So you do ren and then you type the name of the current directory. So this is the current name for this directory, so Codetopia. So let's start again. So you do ren space and then you type the name of the current folder, or you type the current name for the folder, so Codetopia, and then you bring another space and then you type the new name you want to give to the folder. So let's say program, and then enter. So before I press enter, let me just quickly explain. So now we are renaming the Codetopia folder to the program. So we are renaming from Codetopia to program. Okay, so now when I press enter, you see it's going to change the name from Codetopia to program. So let's try and remove this folder. So you do rm. So let me maintain the caps lock and see if it will work. So rm directory, and then let's write the name of the folder you want to delete, so program, and then enter. Now you see it gets rid of the folder for us. So basically this is just an overview of the Cmder terminal. I just wanted to show you why we are going to be using the Cmder over the Windows command prompt. So now that we know why we are going to be using the Cmder, in subsequent videos I'm going to walk you through the steps in downloading or installing the Cmder terminal and also setting up and making it ready to be used in our coding projects. See you in the next video, and always remember, never give up coding.